Hello, this is Techie-Doodle-Doo, and today we are going to have a look at the Raijintek Morpheus II. So this is a aftermarket GPU cooler that has some compatibility with a lot of different GPUs that you can see here. But I'm going to switch out this water block on this Nvidia GTX 1080 Ti Founders Edition card. For this, because I'm going to use this in my editing PC, and well, I don't want to water cool that PC anymore, so we are going air cooling on this one. So yeah, let's just dig into the unboxing of this. So here we have the box, and if you see closer at all the text here, it says it's a superior high-end VGA cooler, and it can cool up to 360 watts of TDP. And we can also see all the graphic cards that it is compatible with. We can see over here that if you're using any of the Vega cards, they have a specific one for that, but we're not using that today. And we have photos of how they look like. Yeah. We can hear stuff inside. So I'll just cut a little tape here. And we will have a look. Okay, so I guess this is a instruction manual. Yeah. And here we can see some stuff. These are thermal pads, and yeah, some other. I think all of them are types of thermal pads, and maybe this is some thermal paste. We also have some heat sinks here. These are nice to put on the VRM and the RAM chips, so they get cooled as well, but we'll get to that later. Okay, we have some more boxes. Okay, so here we can see these two brackets, I think is for mounting the GPU, no, the cooler to the GPU. And we also have these other metal parts here. This is to be able to mount fans to the cooler. So we can mount 120 millimeter fans and something other, I think. I can't read the label, so we'll find that out later. Okay, so here we have a large heatsink. And also a retention plate, I think it's called. So this goes on the other side of the graphics card. And then we have the cooler itself. So we can see that it's black. And a lot of fins here. And also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heat pipes. They go both ways. One of them loops around here and the other goes all the way over here. Okay, we must not forget to take this off, or else we will, don't get so good cooling. So yeah, now we just need to find all our things and our naked graphics card. So this is what it looks like without any of the coolers. And we can see all the RAM chips around here and the VRM. So we need to find out what we need to cool and how we're going to mount it. And I will show this now. Okay, so before we continue, we just peel off this so we don't forget it later. I want to be careful with it. This is to protect it, but I'm going to be careful so we don't break it. So let's start with these ones. So these are going to mount to the cooler itself, like this. And we can see that it has a lot of different holes here. So in the manual it says what holes that usually fits to what. So I saw that the middle one here of these three are the ones that are going to fit my graphics card. But we can worry about that later, because now we're going to fasten the big holes here to the cooler itself here. So you can just line it up like this. And in the bag that these were in, we also got these small screws. So these are going to be used to fasten this. So we can take one at a time and I will try to show you. Okay, we just line up this bar with the hole you can see there. So we just line the hole up, and I got my screw on the screwdriver here, and yeah, just fasten it. And I will do the other ones. Okay, now that's done. Now it's ready. So put that to the side for now. So this part will be different depending on what graphics card you have. We need to find all these heat sinks, and we need to plan a bit. We need to use this to cool all the RAM chips that are placed around the GPU itself. So we need a lot of this, and we also want to use these narrow ones for the part here, the black ones, and because these also need some active cooling. These we don't need to worry so much about, they just need some airflow, but they are going to get that, so we don't worry about it. And also these ones over here. So I found out that if I line this up, this is not the mounting, I'm just trying to plan out where everything is going. So I can see that I can fit 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these on this. So that should be great. And I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 RAM chips, because this has 11 gigabytes of RAM, and these are 1 gigabyte per. So we need to find 11 of these heat sinks. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We get 9 of the big ones. So we also need to use some of the shorter ones. These are the same size, just shorter. So I just use this for the rest. If you see in the manual, I will find it for you here. You can see here, it actually shows you, it uses the shorter ones on the left side of the graphics card and the larger ones on the other side. It also says that you should fasten this large heatsink over here. So I guess that will be over these. We also get strips of these thermal pads. We need to fasten between each of the heat sinks. And we also have the thinner ones for these. These metal parts, these are both for 120mm fans, but for different thicknesses. We can put the 13mm thick or the 25, which are the more regular type of normal case fans, for example. So let's just start putting all the thermal pads on the RAM chips. And we can see it has this tearaway piece here. So if I pull on this, I get one thermal pad. Just try. So just lay it on top and press down, and then we will be able to pull it off. So that's really easy. So I do it again, just pull this off, and you can see we have the thermal pad here. And I'm just lining it up on the RAM chip here. See that all of it gets covered, and then press down. And see if it will peel off again. I can try to help it a bit. Like that. Oh, okay, it's really sticky. Oh. Like that. Okay, so I'll do the rest of the RAM chips now. Okay, so now all our RAM chips are covered with these thermal pads, or thermal glue pads, if you like. Now I would like to put some of the components over here, and for that we will use the thin thermal pads that we got. And the process for this will be exactly the same as on the RAM chips, just maybe a little bit harder because, well, these are a lot smaller. Okay, so like that. There we can see we have all the RAM chip covered, and also the part down here. It's not it's not straight as an arrow, but it's good enough. Okay, so let's start put on some of the chips. So we'll just check that they are not dirty in any kind of way. And yeah, we'll just start in the corner. So I just line it up with the pad and press it against. Okay, that sticks really well. Now I will do the rest of the RAM chips. Okay, now all the RAM chips are covered. And then I will fasten the narrow ones on the white pad over here. Like this. It doesn't look that perfect, but it will do. So you have this heatsink, and we're going to use one of the gray thermal pads to fasten this. We just put it on the short side here. So and this has plastic on both sides, but we only have this to peel off on the one side, so I will peel this off and line it up carefully. Okay, like that, and then just use my thumb to press it down gently. And then we need to peel off the plastic layer on the other side. So I got it here. Oh, and I lost it. Okay. Like that. Oh, didn't pull it too hard. Okay, and we'll see how this goes. I'll try to put it on. I'm just going to take this on the edge of my table here and try to push it down. So you can see here I put on the heatsink here. It has these plastic tabs with a spring that you just press through the screw holes here and here, and it will be mounted. So this is our really sturdy big heatsink for the voltage regulators that are underneath here. So now we are going to need the heatsink again, and you remember we have these 3 holes in each corner, or 4 if in one of them, but you have to see the manual which holes fits to your graphics cards. I know that mine is the one in the middle here and here, ignoring the one offset. And into these holes we are going to use the standoffs that comes with it. It says in the manual that if you are using this cooler on a AMD Hawaii chip, you are going to need these plastic washers. But since this is a Nvidia card, I'm just going to screw the standoffs into the holes here. Like this. I only think finger tight is good enough here. I don't think you need to use some pliers or something to get it even tighter. I think this is good enough. Then the standoffs are on. And now it's time to put on the thermal paste. So you get this one included, and this one should be, well, good enough, I think. But since I have this one from Noctua and from a CPU cooler installed, I will just use this. since it's maybe higher quality. And we want to put this on the GPU itself. Before I'm going to apply the thermal paste to the GPU, I'm going to use just alcohol wipe just to clean it off. I did that earlier, but I see that I also touched the core here somewhat. So now that we have cleaned it, I'll just take my thermal grease here. I don't know if there is any specific strategy to put it on, but it's not dangerous for most of these thermal greases to thermal paste if you use too much of it, because they are non-conductive. So as you can see, there are some residue of earlier applications around here, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything for the cooling, so I will just put an X on the core here, on the shiny part that you can see here. You can see a mirror. Hello. So I'll just do that. So here's my terrible application, but yeah, that should be good enough. When it gets get the force from the cooler itself, it will spread out. So for the next step, we are going to use these screws with the springs on them to fasten the cooler to the GPU. So the way I think that is the best way is to keep this cooler this way. So we can see the standoffs here. We can double check that they're all tight. And we just put the GPU upside down. And we will try to line them up to the line the holes up into the backside here. We will use these larger ones. So yeah. So now that we have lined our holes up, we will need to find this. This is like a retention plate for, well, the cooler. And I will line this up over the holes like this. The side with the black part, this is like a rubber insulator, and the shiny part is the metal side. So the metal side goes away from the graphics card. And just line it up with the holes. Find our screws with a little spring on it. And I will start in one corner. So I'll start in this corner, for example. Just screw it enough so that I feel that it has started to bite into the threads. And I will go to the opposite side. Okay. And then the third one. And the last one. Okay, now I want to go over all the 4 screws and tighten them down. So now that this is fastened, we can see that it is on. And it's securely fastened. None of the heatsinks are falling off. And we can see that it lines up quite nice to the graphics card. Okay, great. Okay, so now we have our graphics card here. I also found these black strips. So this seems like a rubber part. I think it's from 3M. And I think these go on the edges here, like an anti-vibration mount for the fans. So I will just peel off the protective layer here and try to, well, carefully So I may have gone a bit overkill by using these fans. These are the Noctua Chromax NF-A12 by 25. But I think this will be a great addition to this graphic card. We just need to be aware of the orientation of which way the fan blows. So you can see this has a marking here. So the fan rotates this way and blows downwards. So we want the fans to blow down on the GPU. So I will just put them on top of this like that. Okay. And we need this metal part here to fasten them. Okay, so I just test mounted one of the sides just to see how it is. And I will try to show you the other side now. I will take one of the fans off just to make it easier. So the bar, you're going to hold it like this, with the longest piece here pointing outwards. I'm going to line up the hooks here into the hole on the top. And if you see from this side, it has like a cutout here. So we'll have to line up the bar into there. And we also need to do this on this side. So it will be easier if we help pushing from one of the sides, but here we must use some force to get it in. Like that. Now the fan is secured. And we are able to adjust it a bit up and down, but we have to see, we don't want to go too far down because then we are going to hit, well, the motherboard. Okay, so I will try to fasten the other one as well. And like that, we have a Noctua fan cooled card. So these are more than big enough to cover all the heatsinks and also the one underneath. So all we have to do now is to find, well, in my case, the cables for the fans here. Click. And click. And we now need to fasten these into our motherboard or a fan controller. I'm going to connect these into my fan controller, which is a Corsair Commander Pro. I will leave a link to the video in the description, show you how to what comes in the box and how to set it up. Because if I connect this to the Commander Pro, I can control this fan speed according to the temperature of the graphics card. If you are connecting these into your motherboard, the fans will be controlled. Well, you can control it by some software, but most likely it will be controlled to the based on the CPU temperature. Okay, so that was the installation of the Raijintek Morpheus II on GeForce GTX 1080 Ti. I think that was a quite exciting experience, I think, because, well, I've done a lot of water cooling, but I haven't mounted any of these before. But it was surprisingly easy. You don't need to be afraid. If I can do it, then you can do it too. Trust me. And you can see the results are really great. I'm looking forward to testing this, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. I will compare it to the numbers I remember from using the stock cooler on this, which was the Founders Edition cooler. And I also have numbers for the water cooling block that I can compare to, well, this. If this is close to the water cooling loop, then why would you even water cool when this will be, well, simpler, safer, and probably, well, more silent, depending on what fans you are putting on this. It does become quite thick, like if you see this bar is one slot, so this is maybe 2 or 3 or 4 maybe, I don't know. But that is dependent on the thickness of the fans you are using. You can also use 13 millimeter thick, and that will make, yeah, well, make it quite a bit shorter. So, and it's great that they include the mounting for both types of fans. Also keep in mind that if you are planning on maybe vertical mounting this graphics card, you need to have a lot of space for these fans to breathe. If you are putting this close to the panel of your case or anything, it will choke and, well, not perform any well. And also you should be aware that this combination is quite heavy. So maybe you should use one of those supports for the graphics card to make sure that it doesn't sag so much. That's important to think of as well. But yeah, I'm excited to try this now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did, and yeah, have a good one.